It's seed starting season, and every year I sit down with all of my seeds, and every year I end up with more seeds than the prior year. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I have a hard time getting rid of perfectly good packs of seeds. But then again, how do I know if they're perfectly good as they get older? Because they eventually age out. And the term applied to that is viability, and that refers to whether or not a seed will sprout and become a plant. And the viability is impacted by how old it is, how it was stored, and the type of seed that it is. But wouldn't it be nice to know whether or not, before you take the time to put that seed into the soil or actually go to the store and buy a replacement pack thinking that that older pack wasn't still good, but maybe it is. And so what I want to show you today is a simple way to know that, and it's called the viability test. Now, hopefully that makes sense. And this is a good example right here with a squash. The general viability period is around 5 to 6 years under ideal conditions. And this packet is 5 to 6 years old right now. So this is a perfect candidate to do the viability test on. But it's important that you do your test with enough time so that if you find out that those seeds are no longer viable, that you still have time to order replacement seeds if that variety is something that you want to sow into your garden. The other time that you could do it is at the end of the season when you're cleaning up and thinning out. You could cull some of those seed packs that you know are no longer viable, and that's a good time too. So now let me walk you through the steps to do the viability test. The first step is to gather your supplies. Of course, the seeds that you want to use to conduct the viability test, some plastic bags that you can seal shut, and a marking pen to record the date, and then paper towels that you'll put your seeds into. Next, place your paper towels under some running water until it's good and wet, but not too wet. So at the end, wring the towels out so they're just damp. Now line up 10 seeds on your paper towels, fold them over, and be sure to secure the edges as well, and make sure that there's good contact with the seeds and the paper towels. Now that the seeds are safely into the paper towels, it's time to put that into the Ziploc bag. Once they're inside, be sure to seal it shut. Now that the seeds are in the bag, it's time for a couple important notes. First of all, the date, and then be sure to write down what type of seeds are within the paper towels. Once that's done, you want to store those seeds in a warm, dark place and check on it periodically. Step 5 is the fun part, and that is seeing how many of your seeds have germinated. These are the bean seeds, and we're on day 7. So let's take a look. Carefully open up the paper towel. All right, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of 10 have germinated. That's 100% viability. And that's why we always go with 10 seeds, because it's easy to figure out the percentage of germination if you use 10. So again, 100% here, but if you only had 5 germinating, that's 50% and so forth. And now, what do we do with these seeds once they've germinated? Because they're good, we know that. So you might as well plant them. And look at that. There's the radical root. That's the main root going down with the lateral roots. And then the top growth right here will emerge from the soil. But that's a perfectly good seed that's already started its germination process. So we want to put that to use along with all the rest. All right, so some final thoughts here. If you had 7 out of 10 germinated, that's 70% germination. So clearly viability is on the way down. And you might want to think about replenishing your stock. Now, you don't have to, just be aware of that. But for example, if you only had 5 of the 10 germinate, which we talked about being 50%, that doesn't mean that you need to buy new seeds. It just means that you probably should sow 2 seeds per hole in hopes of getting 100% germination. Now, one other thing to think about. Not every seed is going to germinate just because you do a viability test, even if it is viable, such as milkweed, or seeds that need special care. Some seeds, for example, many perennials are an example of this, require a period of cold before they will germinate. So even if you do everything right here, they still may not germinate and still be good. So what you need to do is check the seed packet for special instructions as to whether or not they need some special care before you sow the seeds. All right, that should do it. Next time when you're facing a lot of different seeds and wondering if they're still good, now you have a new skill with a viability test to put it to work.